Hello and welcome back, everybody. We are about to dive into our third and final adventure of the evening, one that I am entitling the Horizon event. But before we get into it, we, as always, are going to meet our characters. We got a Fable tier adventure third tonight, so you probably already know and love a lot of these guys. But before we get in, let's still introduce everyone. So first up, we have returning once more, Nijel Astrada. Nijel, how are you?
Well, given recent events, surprisingly well. Fallen Aasimar, it's unfortunately within our nature to rise stronger after a fall.
Indeed, you had a pretty terrifying, well, I don't even want to call it a brush, a pretty terrifying encounter with a, I believe it was, I keep wanting to say Shutterwalkie, Holowalkie.
Indeed, although I do believe I may have found a even greater source for, I would say clerical, but paladinian might.
I like your use of the, I like that conjugation of paladinian might. And I have a question. You've been kind of, courting this obviously very powerful entity, whatever it may be. What are your thoughts so far on kind of this force?
This force somehow has its own world where dimensions are more fluid, and it even managed to slay me, which is quite a feat in and of itself. To skirt about with such power has been quite titillating in recent adventures. Perhaps in due time I shall come to gain a bit more understanding of this.
I look forward to seeing you continue to pursue this goal, and certainly Bartholomew would probably like to learn a little bit more about the strange entity as well. So I imagine there's some benefit on both sides there. Anyway, Nijel, it is good to have you back once more. Next up, we have returning. Is this Jenny's first time out since becoming Fabled Tier? Jenny Galanodel, the Protector.
No, I'm not Jenny.
Oh wait, you're not Jenny?
No, I'm not Jenny.
Wait, who are you?
Definitely not Jenny.
You confused me. Okay. I mean, are you not the Protector?
I am the Protector. Okay. I'm not Jenny.
Okay. Who are you then?
I am the Protector.
Oh, just the Protector.
Yeah, obviously.
Okay. So, the Protector. Do you prefer Protector, or would you rather the Protector?
Obviously, it's my official title, so the Protector.
Very well.
Do you know of any other Protectors?
I mean, there is the Protector Aasimar Cleric, Sword Coheir, who we'll speak to in a moment, but, he's not the Protector. You, of course, are the Protector. And so the Protector. How have you been protecting the world of DnDTime since your recent promotion? What have you been doing?
I've been rounding up all the gluten in the world and burning it in a fire.
That seems. There's a lot to take in there. And one, how's that been going? What percentage of the gluten in the world would you say you have?
All of it, obviously.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
And I guess that's kind of a bummer because I was planning on that's what I had for dinner later was some bread, but I guess Jenny, you must have already gotten to it. I'm sorry, the Protector, you must have already gotten to it. I'm sorry.
You can still have burnt bread, but what are you? Some kind of
I am not that kind of whatever it is that you're going to call me that would eat burnt bread. So you've been protecting, I guess, people from sort of high blood sugar and overcarbing.
Also, it's the greatest diet trend ever, and I'm definitely not having shakes at all because I want something substantial to eat. Because I definitely have not been living off of celery water for the past week. Definitely not doing a cleanse. I am not getting any weight at all from going through elf puberty. What are you implying?
there are a lot of things the Protector is not doing, and a lot of people that the Protector is not. But we do know that you are the Protector, and it is good to have you back tonight. Welcome. Next up, as we had mentioned before, we have Sword Coheir. I'm struggling right now. We have Sword Coheir returning. Sword, how are you tonight?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I am doing pretty well as well. So, Sword, tell me, what have you been up to lately? Anything? Have you discovered anything exciting in your travails around the land of DnDTime, as you are, as I remember, always constantly on the roam?
Les, I've been taking it easy back home for a while.
Really?
Reading, of course.
What sort of reading have you been doing?
I don't remember the finer details, but I remember it, something about soothing voices.
Oh yes, you've been reading perhaps ChoGal Hammerfist's breakout novel, How to Have a Soothing Voice. Question, have you put any of these kind of techniques into practice? Have you utilized, do you feel like your voice is more soothing as a result of reading it, or are you just kind of enjoying it for the, oh my God, Jeremy, I just want to shout out to Jeremy in chat right now really quick with a really incredible pun. That's really good. Anyway, have you employed any of these techniques?
I'm afraid I've only gotten to about step 2, but I'm afraid my voice gets very coarse afterwards.
Fair enough. I think that is kind of ironically what a lot of people experience when they attempt to have as soothing a voice as ChoGal does. And I suppose that brings us to ChoGal Hammerfist of the soothing voice. Welcome, ChoGal.
Oh, hey everyone! How's it going?
ChoGal, your voice is even more soothing than I've ever heard it before, and I'm curious, what's happened? How did this happen?
Oh, I read my own book, and I realized what great advice it was.
Oh.
But, also, it may also be because of Goliath's second puberty, but we're gonna talk about that.
Man, there's a lot of tie-ins here. It seems like ChoGal, I guess there's no tie-in because there's only one person that's kind of going through any kind of puberty or bodily changes at the moment, and that would be only ChoGal in this group.
Of course.
Yes, only ChoGal.
Yes, but ChoGal, how is your other book selling? It seems like How to Have a Soothing Voice is a bestseller, and that How to Avoid How to Not Die.
Yeah, pretty much. How not to die when everyone wants you dead.
It seems like that one hasn't been selling quite as well as How to Have a Soothing Voice.
What can I say? Everyone wants a soothing voice. I mean,
yeah,
give it time, it'll be fine.
Fair enough. I think you're going to be able to coast on the sales from How to Have a Soothing Voice for a very long time. Either way, ChoGal, welcome back. Good to have you adventuring once more. Let's start adventuring on the subject of today. You're all going to the Crimson Coast, where an event that has never occurred before in the history of DnDTime has occurred. There are a group of Cloud worshippers and a group of Conch worshippers who have been working together on a pretty big project together. And naturally, things did not go in particularly well. Bartholomew had a hard time kind of parsing the details of what went wrong. But according to them, they broke the whole world, is kind of what they were implying. But you couldn't hear it over all of the arguing between the two sides over who was to blame. And on his kind of Sonos stending, he just got a lot of he just picked up a lot of insults thrown back and forth between the two, and a request for heroes, which is where you are. So you all travel down to the Crimson Coast, if you remember. It is on the easternmost shore of D&D.
Yeah, I live here with all my family.
But of course, the Protector. I know that you are regional here. The Galanodels have their residence here along the Crimson Coast. And for anyone who does not remember, obviously not you, the Protector, there are the beaches of the Crimson Coast are these kind of bright and sort of shining kind of pieces of glass that shine a bright red in the sunlight, which is what kind of gives the coastline its name. You look. Oh, apparently we need to get Lance back up. As you're kind of walking up now and looking along the coast, though, something is very different today. As you look out onto the horizon, there is something of an anomaly. Your eyes kind of trace the sea forward and down to the end of it, and then there's just sort of a big black chunk, and then the sky starts up above it, where there's just this extra line. There's this third aspect of the horizon that was never there before. And it makes a really interesting viewpoint, but also things are like a little bit uncharacteristically cold here on the coast, and everything feels a little bit off. There's kind of like some strong winds that are kind of blowing and whipping about the area. And you can see down up ahead on the beach, there is a huge congregation of individuals that are all kind of calling and shouting over each other. And you see a bunch of the residents of the general kind of Crimson Coast region. You see a bunch of Aarakocra from Skyhold. You see Tritons from the Tritanic that are up kind of walking on land. You see Sky Dwarves that have come down from their clouds, and they're all just kind of there in this huge pile, and they're all just seem to be arguing. And that is the scene that you all walk into.
Jenny is going to kind of look at the Sky Dwarves and see if they notice her. And if and when they do, she's going to raise her right hand like she's going to backhand them.
They're all
This
kind of
looks like a really bad idea, this whole thing.
They're all kind of like bumbled up into each other, so they're not really like in defined groups. They're all kind of in each other, and you can hear them like you can hear some of the shouting as you're getting closer, Jenny, and you're kind of waiting for one to catch one of their eyes. You can hear them all kind of shouting over each other, and you hear comments like, well, maybe a few Cloud worshippers hadn't written all of your information in skywriting, we wouldn't have gotten the runes wrong. And then you hear one of them call out, and then you hear one of like the Aarakocra calls out, well, maybe if you hadn't gotten our papers all wet with your conch water, we would have gotten the runes correct in the first place. And they're all just kind of going back and forth. Eventually, you're all kind of going there. No one's really noticed you or really paid any attention to you yet. Eventually, the Protector, you do catch the eye of one of the Sky Dwarves who looks over at you. And what are you looking at?
I'm going to cast Prestidigitation and make like a loud, thunderous boom.
All right, go ahead and make me a. Go ahead and make me an
Intimidation?
Yeah, if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, I do.
Sure. All right, yeah. So you make this huge kind of. The Sky Dwarf kind of looks at you and he kind of gets thrown back a little bit, and then he looks at you, but he's obviously very riled up, and he goes, "Oh, you're one of those conches. This must be your fault." And he starts kind of like coming at you like he's going to charge. And
ChoGal's gonna step in front and just like cross his arms. Excuse me.
He's like ringing back a punch already, and you kind of go into the way of it. He's going to make an attack against you. Does a natural 20 hit?
It does.
Yeah.
You suffer 2 points of bludgeoning damage, and it actually does kind of hurt a little bit as he brings his fist back and kind of catches you right in like a weird part of like the inner thigh, because you're a lot taller than he was aiming for as he was aiming at the Protector.
I'm gonna crack my neck and pull him up by his collar.
All right, go ahead and make an athletics check.
That's a 20?
Oh man, he's rolling real hot, but he has no bonuses, so you still beat him.
ChoGal, if you're going to rend him asunder, at least try to do it less messily than last time.
Can't make any guarantees.
He's kind of like swinging at you, and then as he is so, you pick him up off the ground and just hold him up in front of your face, and you kind of, I'll kill you, and he kind of starts to realize the gravity of a situation, and he slowly kind of lowers his arms down to the side.
Grab.
And he just kind of...
Short.
And eventually he just kind of is settling down and looks up to you and is now just a little bit nervous, realizing he has no chance of actually beating you in a fight. What do you do?
How about you tell us what happened, and I might not beat you to death right here and now.
All right. He looks at you, and then he looks back at the rest of the adventurers. Or Bartholomew's crew.
Yeah.
What gave it away?
Well, I can tell you ain't none of those blasted conch worshippers. And also, well, you don't also look like good cloud-fearing folk either. So, somewhere in the middle it had to be him. And also, we called you. So I was expecting you to be here eventually.
Well, it seems you all royally screwed everything up.
I didn't screw anything up. I did exactly what I was supposed to.
Were you
It's
part of
them.
it? Were you part of the experiment?
I was part of it, yeah.
Then you are also responsible. Stop being a child and
I
take
wholeheartedly
responsibility.
Make a persuasion check. Or I guess an intimidation check. And I'll say you have advantage because of, I assume Jenny is also there behind, glaring menacingly.
Yeah.
Worst
Jenny is
intimidation. I'm not good at intimidation.
I think given the nature of the situation...
Actually, I rolled the intimidation.
Yeah, what do you say?
Listen, you're going to fix what you did to my homeland, or I'm going to throw you into the ocean, Sky Dwarf.
Alright, go ahead and make your own intimidation check.
12. Only one better.
Yeah. Again, I'm just going to clarify. I will talk about it, but I am going to clarify it has nothing to do with the Cloud Worshippers. This one's entirely on the Conch folk. He does not seem willing to cede that point, but he will tell you the following. There's not a lot that the two of us can agree on, but one thing we agree on is that we'd rather not be associated with the other one in any way at any time for any reason whatsoever. So we got a little bit sick of looking at the ocean and then looking up at the sky, and they're always so close together, so we thought, why don't we just pull them apart? We thought we'd just get rid of that horizon.
So, you tore a hole in the space-time continuum? Is that what I'm hearing?
You see him kind of, at this point, kind of has like a hand on the back of his head, and he's kind of rubbing it a little bit sheepishly, and he looks over at the big kind of rift on the horizon, and he looks back at you, and he just kind of like shrugs and turns his head to the side.
I'm actually just gonna like toss him over to the side. Maybe someone smarter will give me some more information.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of work your way into the jumble, all of you, and like I said, these people are all out of control still. And at this point, it almost seems like it's getting ready to like come to blows. As you see kind of like a push fight starting to happen between one in particularly angry-looking Triton and one really kind of burly-looking Sky Dwarf.
Okay, this time I want to prestidigitate the thunder to be like a lightning strike that happens right between those two.
Okay.
Nijel will cast the light on the back of Jenny to give her that dramatic backlight for this.
All right.
And I guess I'll use thaumaturgy to echo the boom of the thunder to get there.
All right.
I'm gonna stand here and look cool.
All right, ChoGal crosses his arms as the rest of you all kind of ready this one kind of magical moment of splendor. Really, I would like you to roll me an intimidation check with advantage, Jenny.
This almost feels like performance, but they're both the same roll. Sure.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. This time, as the lightning bolt goes off, it crashes down in the middle. And everyone kind of falls silent and kind of looks at the spot. And you see the one dwarf that was like really upset kind of starts to go off, but everyone else is silent. And he just goes, You see that? That was a lightning bolt. That's a sign that the cloud knows that we're right.
Jenny walks to where the point of lightning struck and says, "Fixed it now."
And at this point, one in particular, this Aarakocra and this dwarf both look to you. And the Aarakocra says, "Oh, you must be Bartholomew's adventurers."
Talking is not fixing it.
We sort of hired you. We sort of hired you to fix it.
Are you going to tell us how to fix it then?
We're not entirely certain, but we have a good idea. And then the dwarf kind of points. See right there on the end of it? And you can see the kind of black mark on the horizon doesn't go on forever. Near sort of the end of it, it kind of tapers down and it becomes the horizon again, becomes normal again. So it didn't like completely tear it apart, just kind of has this one kind of hole on it. And I'd like you all to make me a perception check.
I'm really great at these.
All right, so the only one who's actually able to see this, you're used to the kind of the sea spray kind of catching up into your eyes, and you're scanning the horizon very carefully, Jenny. As you look out and see the edges of this kind of tear in the horizon, they seem to have an almost serrated sort of quality to them. It looks almost like a massive zipper opening. And at this point, the Aarakocra speaks that, in order to make it able to be grabbed onto, to make it physical, we turned it into an object, a zipper that could be opened.
Why did I have a feeling that's what you were going to say? Ugh. All right, now how do we get there?
Well, that's the other thing. Getting there is going to be easy. If you want to do that, that's fine. We have boats as well. Now, here's the tricky thing about it. It won't be hard to get there, because once you get close enough, it's been sort of sucking everything that gets too close straight into it.
So you made this black hole that sucks things in.
That sounds accurate.
Can I hit both the conch and the cloud now?
Yes.
Right on ahead.
You hear both at the same time. No!
I think that's implied within this quest.
And the two of them are both kind of like, they kind of go back and look at each other and just start kind of like grimacing at each other menacingly again. But then they go back and speak to you again. One of the Tritons actually kind of steps up. Listen, members of both sides of this conflict have been pulled into that. We need you to get those out, in particularly the conch worshippers.
You know, I'm tempted just to leave them all in there, but that wouldn't be very heroic of me.
And we wouldn't pay you, also.
Yes, well.
I'm tempted to have ChoGal here throw all of the cloud worshippers into the sea and all of the conch worshippers into the sky. Now, get us there.
That would be an ironic thing to do, for sure.
Get us there, now.
On what condition? We'll do this on one condition.
We're getting paid.
Yes, I know. But so this doesn't ever happen again. No more messing with the space-time continuum.
Make a persuasion check.
Yeah.
They all kind of like, the three kind of leaders that seem to have stepped up here from kind of all the three groups here, all kind of look at each other and all give a begrudging, fine.
All right, let's go.
And they have like a small rowboat prepared for you.
Word to the wise. Next time you try.
Is it like a tiny rowboat?
It's basically exactly big enough to fit 4 people, and one of those 4 people did not expect to be ChoGal.
So, like, you see this tiny rowboat, and then the camera probably zooms out, and you see one of the Galanodel's many galleons that's like...
Also, I'm actually going to use Find Steed to find a water steed.
Jenny kind of like spits on the rowboat as she passes towards one of the galleons.
Okay. Yeah, you move over to one of your much nicer ships and kind of hop inside just a little bit farther down the beach. It's like a half an hour walk. And you summon a water steed. What does your water steed look like?
It's gotta be pretty big. Just like imagine a narwhal, but bigger. Kind of like a whale.
Is it an Alaskan narwhal?
Yeah, wherever Alaska is.
You summon like a killer whale, but not like the stats of a killer whale. And you kind of hop on and kind of start moving your way over. What are your plans, Sword and Nijel, to kind of get over? You're going to ride up with Jenny? We're just going to take the rowboat.
Seeing the clever idea of ChoGal, Nijel will also pull a fine steed out. Although his appears to be more of a slightly ghastly, almost water weird. It's almost a congealment of much darker water, and you can almost see a almost skeletal horse within it as he mounts this sort of living undead water.
Sort of a sea horse. An undead sea horse.
Yes, although we prefer the term aqua steed.
Aqua steed is
Yeah,
very
Aqua
good.
Steed. I just had to have a bigger one than that because, you know, big guy.
You summon your aqua steed. You watch as the water kind of coalesces and forms and wraps around the bones that kind of appear in the air. And you have
Pound
yourself an
five.
aqua steed. Sword, what's your plan? You gonna take the rowboat, or you gonna ride up with Jenny, the protector?
I guess I'll take a ride with Jenny.
Okay, you hop in the protector's gallon.
Putting on my Leoman's life preserver just in case I fall off.
Very well. That's actually a perfect time for Leoman's life preserver. All right, you put the life preserver. You watch as Sword kind of just puts this weird sort of inflated red and white donut like around his neck, and kind of hops into the boat. And you all begin setting off. You draw closer, and as you're getting closer, it feels like the sky just kind of, you can tell that things now just kind of stop, and the horizon is more kind of, it's almost wall-like now, where they're almost erected like a barrier on the outsides of the world. And you can actually feel yourself getting closer and closer, which is a strange, it's a very strange feeling to be able to actually like approach the horizon and have it grow larger.
This shouldn't be possible!
It really shouldn't be possible, and they've obviously really goofed it up big time here on the coastline. And as you get closer and closer, you start to feel a pull, and it starts to kind of drag you a little bit closer into it. You start moving a little bit faster. Your aqua steeds feel kind of like they're moving with the current. The gallon kind of picks up a bit more wind, and faster and faster and faster as this thing's really starting to pull now. And you kind of get to a point where you realize you've started, you're on the threshold of losing complete control of your respective vehicles. Is there anything that you do at this point?
I think at this point, one of the crew members that is navigating the galleon jumps off and makes a Wilhelm scream.
I don't know. I'm not familiar with the Wilhelm scream.
Basically.
That's really bad with the ChoGal voice. Basically, the scream that you hear in every Star Wars movie ever.
Sort of the
Except
all right,
less
one of the,
like that.
One of them kind of jumps off, and you notice as actually looking at what's coming ahead, all of your crew kind of abandons ship, Jenny, and all kind of just start just kind of jumping off the side, seeing that they're going nowhere. A couple of them seem like they didn't quite make it and are at a point where they're still getting pulled in. But you're all kind of, do you guys do anything as you reach this kind of critical, this point of no return, so to speak?
Are we getting close to the zipper? Are we close to the zipper?
You're getting close to the horizon now, but it's pulling you in long before you're in range to like actually grab it. You're probably like a mile away, and it's already starting to pull you with like a lot of force.
I mean, like, are we heading towards the zipper directly?
Oh, yeah. You're moving more towards like the middle of it, not like the outsides.
I was hoping.
Grab the wheel and try to steer the ship towards that endpoint that the dwarf pointed at.
Yeah, I'm also kind of doing that. And I'm also tying some rope to a spear.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so you you kind of fashion this thing, and you all what are you doing? Sword and Nijel. Do you have any kind of preparations you're doing as you kind of reach this point of no return?
Nijel is going to lifeline and tie himself off to like the ankle of ChoGal, preferably without ChoGal noticing.
I mean, ChoGal would let you do it anyway, but
make a sleight of hand check.
Oh, I noticed.
ChoGal, make a burst. Oh, you get passive. Yeah, we'll just let you get passive.
My passive perception's a 9.
You notice, you notice as he's kind of slowly tying a knot around your ankle. And
I'm gonna pretend I don't.
All right. Yeah, you've done it, Nijel. What about you, Sword? Anything you want to do? You're on the boat now. All the crew has abandoned ship, letting out comical screams as they dug off.
Jenny's gonna yell out, "Cut off some of the lifeboats!"
All right, thank you. Let me think.
There's no crew left. Daddy.
That's the lifeboats will most likely just get pulled in anyways.
Faster, probably.
For my own sake, I'm going to start prepping and using bless.
Okay. Who are you going to be blessing?
Myself, ChoGal, and Jenny.
How long does bless last?
Up to 1 minute.
Okay.
1 minute. Or was it 10?
Concentration up to 1 minute.
Okay, yeah.
It sounds funny when you say rules text in that voice.
No, don't worry about it.
I'll say that. Do you want to wait until like the kind of critical moment until you're getting closer to cast it? Because you still like I said, you're still like a mile away and you're moving faster. So once you're kind of in the situation where you're about to bless, I'll say you've readied to bless, and then you will right at that time.
Prep and do. Okay.
Cool. So yeah, speed picks up and you are moving sort of faster and faster and faster towards the event horizon. At this here horizon event, and as the ships pick up speed, you kind of start to feel the gallon beneath you. Sword and Jenny, you kind of feel it like actually catch a little bit of air, like and it's almost like skipping over the water. Your whale and Steed both kind of have been doing kind of like jumps in the water, almost a little bit dolphin-like at times. And as they do one, they do jumps like with this extra force, and it seems to cover like almost like 100 feet, and they're like suspended in the air.
Flying.
Yeah, you feel like you're flying. You're moving faster than flying as you are forcibly just pulled faster and faster and closer and closer. You are getting narrowly close. At this point, you are 1,000 feet away.
You know, ChoGal.
800, 700. You're moving at that kind of pace. And
Are we
you are
close enough? And are the winds, or is the sucking power enough that I could throw the spear and hook the zipper?
it's going to be a Herculean task in order to actually pull that off. At this point, you're getting really close. Sword, you call upon your blessing. All of you feel this divine energy given to you by Sword. Who are you casting the bless on?
Myself, Jenny, and ChoGal.
Okay. So the three of you now have this kind of divine energy protecting you. You get closer and closer and closer. You are at kind of the point on the threshold. I would like you, Jenny, to. I was going to say, make you
a what?
I want you to make me a water vehicle check if you are proficient. Otherwise, just a intelligence roll.
It will be an intelligence roll, but I want to cast Dancing Lights on the zipper to try to assist in ChoGal's Herculean feat.
Okay.
Also, this is where I'm using my inspiration.
Well, for starters, maybe that check to see how kind of, you said you wanted to steer the boat over towards
15 and 15.
Okay. Yeah, you move it over kind of to the outside. You're farther over to the left, but not like you're not able to kind of pull yourself all the way to the like the crux on the outside, where the actual zipper is. You can tell it's on the left side of it. Appears to be where the zipper is. So you get closer. Nijel, what are you doing?
He has really nothing to do. He's relying on that lifeline, so he'll just look over and say, "You know, ChoGal, they say when you stare into the void stares back."
I'll stare extra hard.
Stare it down. I believe in you.
You all reach the point that you are now at the crossing, and it's just as you get closer, it's wider and wider, and you're just looking into what appears to be just sort of darkness beyond. ChoGal, go ahead and make me an attack roll with advantage from the dancing lights.
Come on! That was not great.
That is.
When I see that, I want to try to cut hammer and attach a rope to the cut hammer and throw it.
That you will not have time for at this point, as you are like this. He was making an attack at the moment of crossing, as that's the only time that like it could happen. Like right when you're getting close enough, he kind of throws it up and hopes to like. Basically, you were just throwing it straight up in the air and hoping the momentum that was also pulling it inwards would like suck it down and be high enough to not go, but he couldn't get it high enough. You don't have time at this point to like tie a whole rope. If you have something that takes like one action.
How far is it?
It's like 100 feet that is being covered in the span of like a second.
100 feet. So I could move 30.
Well, you're on a boat, and you're kind of like being pulled.
Yeah.
So you don't really have a lot of like movement options. You're kind of being.
I was just thinking Misty Step, but I guess that wouldn't work either.
I mean, you can try and like Misty Step something. You'll be like pulled again the second you come out of it. But if you have like something you want to do with Misty Step, you can like give it a shot. It's just going to be also very difficult.
No, I think that was our last chance.
Okay.
Oh well, that didn't work. Off to Narnia!
You whip into this darkness. I would like all of you to make me dexterity saving throws.
With bless.
With bless.
I didn't mean to roll that at an advantage, but here's another 1d4, so 17, yeah.
Sword, you also have bless. So that's 13 from Sword, a 17 from ChoGal, 16 Jenny, and Nijel just a 12. Nijel and Sword, the two of you fail. Jenny and ChoGal, the two of you succeed.
Yeah.
I am tethered to ChoGal if we're free falling.
That's true.
Okay. I will give you advantage then, because you're kind of connected to ChoGal because of that. So why don't you give me he'll take a little bit of the brunt of it for you. Why don't you give me another roll, Nijel? Oh, damn! So you'll take half damage.
What's up?
So you're the only one who will take full damage from this sword, as you suffer 26 points of damage, the rest of you taking only 13. As you are ripped into this space, moving at incredible speeds, you kind of crash into ground. The ground, despite your speed, the thing that kind of saved you is it feels like the ground is kind of soft, but you fall and kind of drag into it. And as you do, you can hear around kind of like these squelching noises as you fall and crash and go into it. Your Galen is the Protector. You may have to be having a few words with, I assume, is this your personal one or is this one owned by your father, by the Galanodels?
This is actually, funny enough, someone else's personal galleon.
Oh, jeez. Well,
Zero is going to have a talk with
okay. Because as it kind of moves into here, there's splintering wood is kind of just cascades about the space and is destroyed. The mast, you can hear it kind of crack and snap as all of you eventually come to rest in this space.
That's gross. Oh, that's so squishy.
You are in a space, and that space is unpleasant, to say the least.
What does Danny see?
As you're looking around, the space has light. There's no noticeable source of it, but you can see landscapes, you can see materials, you can see things. In the empty spaces between objects, it is just black. But you kind of look around, and the ground that you're standing on, it feels almost like fleshy in places. It's kind of just this like kind of brown tan, grayish kind of expanse, and it kind of like gives underneath your feet a little bit as you're moving, and there's a little bit of just kind of liquid everywhere. And the next thing that you see, just right in front of you, and all of you notice, is just implanted on kind of a wooden sign right where you are. There's just a simple wooden sign with letters kind of carved into it with what looks like kind of very meticulous kind of green paint, and it just says, "Welcome to the Far Realm."
What? Guys, I don't like this.
Nope, this is actually not good. I didn't go through,
We believe you, the Protector. Don't worry.
And
let's see.
Close realm.
Let's see. I'm gonna look around and see if there's anything alive.
Is there any debris at our feet?
Why don't you all go ahead and make me some investigation checks?
Another thing of green. Oh, there's still actually a green in it.
that one.
Well, everyone but the Protector, you just kind of really just staring very intently at this sign, really trying to take in every detail and see if you can find a clue there. But the rest of you kind of start looking around the rest of the area, and you look on the ground. It seems like the area that you're in, it's very impressionable. Like when you kind of step on it, it gives and it leaves for a while. It leaves traces of where you stepped, very visible footprints. And you can see a number of those footprints on the ground here. You recognize footprints that look similar to those people that might have already gotten sucked in. You see kind of bird-like three-taloned claws impressions. And you also see impressions of dwarven feet. You also, as you start looking around, you notice a couple of bodies of individuals that did not make it.
That sucks for them. I'm not touching them, no.
And you also see bodies of you see another body of a creature that looks like it was it looks like he was burned. This appears to be a dwarf, and his body is just kind of like charred and ashy.
Guys, is realms spelt with an A? I don't think it's spelled with an A. How do you spell realms?
Of course it's spelled with an A.
Yeah, it has an A, definitely.
I swear that this sign has a spelling mistake. There's something about it.
R-E-A-L.
We found some footprints.
You can clearly see the meticulous effort they put into it. There's no mistake in the sign.
But
Guys,
what about
footprints.
welcome? Is there an E at the end of welcome?
Yeah, definitely. But I think we should follow these footprints.
Not the spelling itself.
Someone's gonna walk off towards the footprints while they're staring at the sign.
All right. You begin following the footprints. It is trivial to do so. As I said, they leave pretty clear impressions. Although as you're walking, like there's only ever kind of like one trail at a time, and as you kind of sink your feet in, your footprints kind of, as you push your feet down, the area around it kind of gets pushed up, so a lot of them are kind of disappearing as you walk, but you're
I
still
imagine
able
they're
to
also
follow them.
extra deep.
Yeah, they're definitely deep. You're kind of you take one in particular step, and as you kind of weigh down, your foot falls even a little bit farther, and then you kind of almost hear a sound coming from the ground. You hear something of a not a you hear kind of a whoa. And then the ground kind of rumbles for a second, and then it's fine.
Guys, I think this thing is alive. I think we might be in the belly of a beast.
When would we have fallen into its belly? We only just came through the massive rift.
Guys, the rift might be the mouth.
Well, that's unsettling.
Sit in
Nijel
the bodies once?
Well, this wouldn't be the first time I was inside of a giant, terrifying monster.
I think I should also step carefully. I am kind of heavy.
That voice is so good. All right.
I would even wait to take this opportunity to heal back up.
Yeah, I'm gonna give myself some health as well. Like, 15 points.
also.
Could anyone give me some healing?
Oh, yeah, I got you, fam. He goes over, ChoGal goes over and places a hand on your shoulder with a Cure Wounds. At level 1. That's pretty good.
All right, so you all kind of continue following this trail. There's kind of like almost like rolling hills of this same kind of very flesh-like material as you kind of move, and you're following these footprints until you're getting kind of around one of these hills, and you can hear what sounds like behind it. You can hear the sounds of conversation and speaking.
I'm actually gonna turn to one of my partners and ask if they could stick their tongue out for me.
What?
Nijel will happily oblige, sticking his tongue out at Jenny.
So, does the hills around us kind of look like something that I'm looking at right now?
Go ahead and make a medicine check.
With advantage?
Yeah, but I think it would be Nijel that's making the medicine check. Wait, no, you're looking at Nigel's tongue? Yes, so you make a medicine check, and I'll give you advantage here.
Does he have something to look at?
12. I mean, maybe. You're not sure. It's kind of tough to say. You're leaning towards no.
Okay, I'll ask for Nigel's opinion then, and I'll stick out my tongue and kind of like point at the hills around me.
Nijel will just stare at her blankly for a second before having one minor thought of inspiration, which...
You think, not sure. Leaning toward no.
So, what exactly is this correlation of tongues? Should we
I
also
could have sworn that I had thought of something very brilliant, but the dice betrayed me.
No fourth wall breaking, especially not in the belly of a beast. Oh, sorry.
Correlation of Tongues sounds like a good novel title or a holiday in a strange
Kind of does.
world.
That's actually ChoGal's second book on soothing voices.
Oh, that's coming out soon. You spoiled it.
Correlation of Tongues, indeed. All right. So yeah, you can hear kind of voices coming from around this hill.
All right, Jenny heads over.
All right. As you get closer,
Nijel will light grenade them.
you're gonna cast light.
I'll pick up a bit of scrap on the ground and cast light on it and lob it over the hill.
Okay. You pick up kind of a bit of stray scrap on the ground. You toss it over the hill. As you lob it, the light that you give off, it's different than your normal light. The rock kind of glows a brilliant green as you toss it over.
Green sun.
But you toss it over, and you hear from behind, kind of behind the flesh mound. You hear a voice call out, "Oh, what is this?"
I see someone's been reading my book.
Nijel is going to have his weapon and shield ready, following along.
"This is a strange thing I found here, a glowing rock."
ChoGal's gonna come behind with his shield out, but not his weapon. He's like,
"Was this your tribute?" And you hear a voice kind of speak out. "No. Yes. Yes, it was." And you hear that other voice kind of replies, "It is inadequate, but it will begin, at least." You kind of move around. You kind of move around the outside of this, and you can see part of this kind of fleshy surface has been picked up and wrapped around, almost forming a cage. And within that cage, you can see a number of miscellaneous Cloud and Conch worshippers. In addition, in front of it, you can see, hovering a little bit off the ground, you can see a circular creature with a great giant eye that turns and looks to you, and out of kind of the sides of it, several smaller tentacled eyes kind of reach out and all kind of turn and face in your direction, and it calls out, "Hello there."
uh-oh.
Does Jenny know what this is?
Make an Arcana check.
Oh my gosh, Pete.
Can the rest of us get in on
Always
this?
the int.
And anyone who wants to make an Arcana check may do so.
I kind of know what this is, maybe a little.
More or less.
Sword, it's some kind of crazy eye floater. ChoGal, it's oh god, you've heard of beholders before.
No!
Nijel and Jenny, you've heard of beholders before, but this thing doesn't seem to give off the kind of force of power that you'd normally expect from a beholder. This may be some kind of kin related to it, but not the true creature.
Like a baby beholder.
ChoGal immediately puts up a shield in front of his eyes, like, no, 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 no.
All right. Jenny is going to say, "Release the captives."
He kind of looks at the captives and then looks back at you. Then two of the eye stalks kind of turn back and also look back at the captives. And then once again, those eye stalks look kind of back at you. "No, I won't do that. I will need you to provide tribute, however, so that I do not destroy you."
Jenny is going to cast Hex as a bonus action.
Waste no time. Fair enough. Go ahead and roll for initiative.
Oh, great.
Ah, it's some great tribute, though.
Oh, really? 10, 11, 11, 10?
I admire that decisive attitude.
What you forget, Pete, is that it's Switch who likes monstrosities. This
I
is the
mean,
protector.
I don't. I assumed that you did not. Let me click on my guy, and I will roll for him. I will roll for him. I even get to learn his great name. Oh, so he will go first. I will say that you still get your hex off immediately. As you call him a hex, he is a little bit taken off guard.
I'm going to give disadvantage on his charisma checks.
Very well. In that case, you have chosen to be eliminated then. That is fine. And he's going to roll. Oh, wait, wrong thing. I meant to roll 3 of these. And we'll also do this. So, first off, he fires at 2 eye rays at you, Nijel, and then he tosses 1 to you, Jenny. Against you, Nijel, I'd like you to make me a Constitution saving throw to start with.
Oh, Nigel's the only one who's not blessed.
All right, Nijel. For a brief moment, you feel your body kind of begin to lock up a little bit, but you manage to shrug off the effect. I'd also like you to make me a Dexterity saving throw. Oh man, just barely on both. That's exactly the number that you wanted. You duck out of the way of the second one as this kind of like sickeningly gray beam fires out at you, and it kind of just dodges aside. It seemed like he almost wasn't even aiming for you, he was aiming for something else. That is going to then bring us, or actually there's one more, and that was against you, Jenny. I would like you to make me a Dexterity saving throw. Oh, you crush it. Yeah, these eye rays all... Nope, you're good. They all kind of... A bright red ray, you can see it burns the ground where it left. Maybe this is what happened to that dwarf before. That is going to be actually all for this creature's turn. And at the start of your turn, who's going first here? That was a very...
Me, then Alex.
In that case, Jenny, at the start of your turn, I would like you to make me a Wisdom saving throw.
Bless?
No need. You're crushing it. What do you do?
I used my last bonus action to cast Hex, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do this as a bonus action.
All right. You mark the creature.
And then I'm going to... How far away is it?
Nice rhyme, Holy Blades Crusade. I will assume that you guys are... You can walk up. I will say 30 feet.
Sure.
So you run up and swing with your cut hammer. That's absolutely going to hit. Roll damage on that. You cut into the creature. Which part of the cut hammer are you using?
I'm using the slashing bit.
All right, you cut across, and as you do so, kind of brackish brown blood kind of courses out of the creature's body as it kind of slashes through, and you're now right up next to him. Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
All right.
ChoGal's turn.
ChoGal. I would like you to make me a Wisdom saving throw.
I forgot Hex damage.
Oh, yes.
Is it for looking at the creature? Because I'm not currently looking at the creature.
It is for looking at the creature. Why aren't you currently looking at the creature?
I have, before combat started, I put my shield in front of my face.
You actually did specify that. Holy shit, nicely done. Yeah, all right.
In that case, I am going to immediately cast Protection from Evil and Good.
Very well, you do so.
And as a bonus action, Vow of Enmity that thing.
All right.
Quick check-in, Pete. Did you add my Holy Blades Crusade damage as well?
I do.
Okay, cool.
And that's the end of my turn. But now I can't be charmed or frightened or possessed by them.
Nice. That is going to bring us to. That is going to. Who was next in initiative? My apologies. That would be
It was a
We
tie.
both rolled the same.
Sword. So Sword has a higher dex. So Sword, I'd like you to make me a Wisdom saving throw at the start of your turn. Go ahead and roll Bless. Oh, no, not the ability. Just you actually. Oh no, at this point, I'm sorry. Bless is worn off at this point.
Yeah, it's
You guys
probably, yeah.
I forgot about that. So never mind. You actually fail to save. As you kind of stare down this creature, as you're looking into its eye, it seems to pulsate it, and you just hear this. You just feel in the back of your head just this boom, just kind of this throbbing as you stare at the creature. Until all that you can see is just this one gigantic eye in the center of their face, and you feel yourself move to inaction at this point. You are stunned until the start of your next turn. At the start of your next turn, you can avert your eyes and look away from the creature, ending the effect. But for now, you are stunned. That is going to bring us to Nijel, who I'd also need to make me a Wisdom save.
Let's go.
That is going to do it. So what would you like to do, Nijel?
Nijel will run forward with his newfound expert swordsmanship or scythesmanship and cut into this boy with his scythe. And as he charges forward, of course, as is natural, he will first level cast, where's that boy? Divine Favor, which is messing up, so I'll just roll it with my head.
All right. Both of those attacks are going to hit. Go ahead and roll damage on those. Nice.
And oh, that was rough on both of those. So let's dump a first level smite in them.
Both?
Just one for now.
Okay. Oh, wow. Holy hell. All right, so 37 points of damage total. If I did that wrong, let me know. As you take your scythe and with your first thing, what does it look like when Nijel uses his Divine Smite?
As he charges up, you just watch as he wipes his left hand across the blade, and it seems much thicker and blacker than before. And as he strikes into it, you just see this surge of... You know how in TV and anime, black light has that weird purplish hue? There's
Yes.
just a bright flash of that, and then he sticks it in again. And
Absolutely.
seeing the sword kind of just staring at it with that nice little drop of drool on the right side of his jaw, Nijel will avert his eyes.
Okay, yeah, you look away after this first kind of flurry of blows. That is going to bring us to foe turn once more, who is going to use some more rays. Oh.
3s6.
Indeed. And that's going to bring us to Sword. I would like you to make me first a strength saving throw. Unfortunately, you fail the saving throw. As in your stunned state, this ray kind of crashes into you and sends you kind of careening backwards 15 feet away from it. You also feel yourself slowed a bit by the effect. I would also like you to make me a dexterity saving throw. How does the stun condition affect dexterity? I believe it does not, correct?
I'm not sure.
I can look it up.
Thank you. Unfortunately, that is also not. I mean, you're having a hard time of it so far. Fate has not been kind to you. And then the last one, I would like.
Automatically fails dex saves and strength saves.
Okay, so it worked out that way anyway. You also suffer 27 points of fire damage as this burning ray kind of courses out and sort of you take a pretty hefty chunk of damage there. And
I'm down.
Oh, okay. Sword is thrown backwards alongside incredibly burned. And lastly, I would like you, Nijel, to make me a Constitution saving throw.
Hey.
You crush it. As this ray of dark necrotic energy kind of shoots out from the creature, you take only 10 points of necrotic damage. And you maintain concentration. Nicely done. As this creature ends its turn. It is also going to, seeing the kind of the group of you, it's also going to just use its movement to fly upwards 20 feet, provoking opportunity attacks.
Which your boy is definitely going to do.
Ooh.
But dropping his shield and using his glaive. The 4 doesn't count yet.
Okay. You kind of drop the shield and swing with the glaive, which is going to hit for 15 points of damage. Nice. And then the cut hammer is also going to hit for another 7 plus 4, so that's 11. Does that also apply hex?
No, 7 plus 5 plus 2. That's
so then I counted it wrong before.
Yeah.
What is the 4 fire damage?
4 fire damage is green flame blade. There's no creature within 5 feet, I think.
Okay, yes. That is correct. Okay, so it's 7 plus 5 plus 2, so 14 points of damage and 29 points of damage. You both take really good hits at this thing, but it now kind of floats up in the air 20 feet, and it's a little bit outside of most of your grasp. Nijel, you kind of swing wide. That is going to be all for that creature's turn as it passes now to you, Jenny. Do you avert your gaze?
Hell no.
All right, go ahead and make me a wisdom save. Unfortunately, Jenny, you are stunned until the beginning of your next round. As you kind of feel the same effect, you stare into the eye and just boom, boom, it kind of pounds your head. Your head aches. You are moved to inaction.
Does my Fey ancestry take part into this?
It does not, unfortunately. In that case, that's going to bring us next to
Your boy, ChoGal.
ChoGal, do you avert your gaze?
Yes.
All right. You look away from the creature. It's still kind of staring down you, this huge eye just fixed down below. Your ally behind you, near fallen. Or actually, not near fallen, has fallen. What do you do, ChoGal?
I have advantage against you. But also, as a bonus action, I will speak loud and activate my glaive of Lao.
You call out Lao.
Have some of this and some of this. And then I'm my gaze again.
Unfortunately, wait, why do you have advantage?
Because of the
enmity.
Vow of Enmity, yes.
Oh, the Vow of Enmity. Unfortunately, you have disadvantage because you're looking away, so it nerds. Because you're effectively blinded, you're swinging without looking at the creature. So it negates to just a flat roll. So it's going to be a 14, which unfortunately misses.
I see what you do.
Yeah, that's his strat. You can risk the not disadvantage by looking straight at him if you want, but
I'll look straight at him then.
Well, not after the fact.
Next time, I know.
Yeah,
but...
next time. So you swing the glaive of Lao as two arcing kind of swaths of light shoot upwards past it. He kind of moves back side to side. Whoa! As he kind of moves back and forth, just barely dodging out of the way of these two things. That is going to bring us to Sword. I need you to make me a death saving throw. Sword creeps closer to defeat. That is going to bring us to Nijel.
Nijel, having sensed this thing moving up, will kind of laugh as he looks up and two
Oh, nice.
and he pulls out his pistol.
Oh, damn. 24 absolutely hits. Go ahead and roll damage on that. That's a ton of damage, isn't it? Oh, that's a really rough pistol roll. You shoot the pistol blast, and it kind of like catches him right in the side. You see as one of the eye stalks is almost completely taken off, but not quite by the shot. This creature is actually starting to look pretty rough.
That divine favor damage, though.
Yeah, pumping it in, consistent. Very well. So if that's all for you, Nijel?
Is there any high ground I can get closer to it?
You would have to move a little bit back. You could get kind of on eye level, but it would also be putting you spatially down. You could kind of like try and climb up on top of the cage.
I'm assuming that'd be action economy, so I'll just stay where I'm at.
Okay. In that case, that's going to bring us to the creature's turn, who is going to continue its eye ray onslaught. Actually, I'm sorry, it shouldn't have been 3d4, it should have been 3d3. So, first off, ChoGal, I need you to make me a dexterity saving throw. Oh god, I need you to make a dexterity saving throw.
Come on!
This could be very bad for you. Okay, you're fine. A ray kind of shoots out at you, and it seems almost like it was targeting you, and like he was attempting to shut down your glaive, which would have been devastating. But you succeed. I would like you to now make me a strength saving throw.
Come on!
Unfortunately, this one you do fail as you are. The ray strikes you, and you just feel incredible.
If this was an attack roll, it would be at disadvantage, by the way. I don't actually think that applies to this. Also, Is this a charm, frighten, or possessive effect?
It is not, unfortunately. It is just a push as you are knocked backwards 15 feet, and you now have half movement until the start of this creature's
next turn. That's a speed time 15 feet to move back. Fine.
And the last will be against you, Jenny. I need you to make me a Constitution saving throw.
You're lucky Jenny is stunned, otherwise she'd call you out for not calling her the protector.
But you do succeed on your con save, and you take only 6 points of necrotic damage as this energy reaches out to you. Even in your stunned state, you attempt to resist it and push it out of your system. The protector is too strong for any attack like that, which is going to bring us to the top of initiative, which is in fact the protector. And you do not avert your gaze, but you do succeed on your save against the actually yeah, it's Jenny's turn.
Okay.
That's actually, I was gonna say it was a wisdom save. Hold on a second. Because there was confusion, I will let you make one more wisdom save to attempt, because you did the wrong save the first time.
I did the Constitution.
Oh, that was for your Constitution. Oh, never mind. Then thank you for your honesty. In that case, you are unfortunately still stunned as he continues to look down at you with his oppressive gaze.
I'm not looking away this time.
You're not looking away?
No, come on, wisdom save. Come on, wisdom save. Yeah, wisdom save.
You crush that wisdom save. All right.
Guess what? Loud twice. And it's an advantage too, so.
Oh yeah, those definitely all hit.
When you speak it, you can't use it again until next stop.
Well, no,
I know, but it continues.
Yeah, it lasts for
1 minute, or actually,
4 or 5 minutes. It lasts.
5 minutes, yes. Which I'm also gonna. Can I smite at a distance with this weapon?
Yeah, it was a myth tier. Unfortunately not. That's still a melee attack only for the smites. However, you do deal a massive. I believe the radiant dash. Yeah, so you deal a massive 34 damage. Oh my god. As your glaive kind of swings out these two light strikes. You've gotten the rhythm now, and you're now staring straight at him. It's hard for you to miss. He tries to dodge out of the way. He seems reticent to move higher. He doesn't want to he kind of wants to stay in the range that he's at, but now he's starting to look kind of nervous about that decision. As you cut 2 huge radiant slashes across his body.
Don't run away, you coward!
Fair enough.
I don't really have any other bonus action things I can do right now, so no, I'm good.
He seems to be on his last legs. That is going to bring us to Sora. I need you to make me another death saving throw.
Come on, Sword!
You need to not roll a natural dice. You have 1 more success. We're 1 and 1. That is going to bring us to Nijel.
Come on, Nijel!
Are you going to look away, or are you going to...
Nijel will not look away.
All right. You just barely succeed.
Clutching the 14s. He will very slowly sheath his sword, but still quick enough to do it in an action. And he will quick draw 2 javelins and pew pew.
All right, go ahead and make me 2 attack rolls. You don't have disadvantages. He's still in your short range.
Ooh, clutch divine favors.
Oh, man. Lance, would you care to describe... I'm sorry, I called you Lance out of habit, but Nijel, would you care to describe your killing blow on this creature?
You watch as Nijel sheaths the sword and picks up these 2 javelins. They seem to gain the same strange purplish black quality, and one, you see it pierce through one side of it and start poking out the other, as you see it slowly seem to quiver in place up there, and the second one seeming to almost crossbeam the first javelin as the beast slowly descends, defeated.
And then I stab it a bunch of times, just in case.
And so it is the you do a couple of practice stabs, and you hear all of the kind of the cries from the people in the cage there that are kind of looking at you, and they all kind of cheer as the thing goes down, and one of the dwarves goes up, kind of shouts up, "You know, none of this would have happened if these conch folks hadn't gotten us into this whole."
This is both of your faults. You both are responsible, and you are all going to help me get this thing fixed.
Indeed.
Sword, I'd like you to make me another death saving throw.
We should have a stipulation that
I'm gonna go over and give 1 HP to
Yeah, that's right. Sword, you stand up. Sword, you have very bad luck. I'm very sorry.
Armor does nothing.
Armor does nothing against tons of saves. And Sword kind of stands up.
Or 25 plus hit damage.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, those kind of suck.
Anyway, you arise. People, I assume, given some kind of easy hacking and slashing with your kind of glaive, the glaive itself seems definitely it seems to repel almost the fleshy cage. Seems to kind of shrink away from your glowing glaive, and
Light, yeah.
yes, and eventually you have all the creatures, all of the miscellaneous cloud worshippers freed, and you are able to kind of work your way back towards the zipper. What do you all do from there?
I make them all stand in a line, and I walk down with a hand outreach, and I slap them all on the face.
You just kind of like a baseball, like good game kind of thing, but
Yeah.
But you're bad game, yeah.
They all deserve that too.
As you do, each one kind of looks down in shame, and they all seem to think about their actions and how they have consequences.
I have a negative strength modifier, so my slaps do 0 damage exactly.
Yeah, it's not about the damage. It's about the message.
It's about the shame.
Yeah.
It's not about the reels, it's about the feels.
Alright, let's go head back towards the giant gaping mouth thing.
Speaking of shame, I'll lick my wounds a bit.
Oh yes, swords. They're kind of like a little bit sheepishly, kind of like passing over some of your wounds. You're gonna cast a healing spell or. All right, cool. Yeah, you heal up some of these kind of burn marks from where you were kind of immolated before are now starting to clear up. So you all work your way, them all kind of walking in a line of sadness and regret. Back, you make your way back to the kind of the mouth of the thing.
Let's get to that zipper.
All right, you reach out and kind of grab onto the zipper, and
I'm gonna start pulling it back and gather everyone to the other end. Everyone out before I close you all in.
I will assist ChoGal in the zipping.
It's actually on the inside of the. It's actually on the inside of the kind of portal. The zipper is.
Okay, well, that makes it easier then.
So you kind of drag it along.
I'm gonna cast Spider Climb on him so he can just walk along the wall.
All right, cool.
La, 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 la.
It's heavy, but given the work, you are eventually able to get it right kind of near to the end. You send everyone, you send all of them out, and once it's at this point, it's no longer has the force of wind of being pulled in that it has once you kind of get down to the end of it, and you're all there, and there's just kind of a few inches left. But you also come to the sudden realization that you can't close it all the way and walk out.
I have an
Anybody
idea.
got a rope?
I've got an idea. Ending.
What do? How are you trying to use this mending here?
Well, use it on the zipper itself. Shouldn't mend the rest of the
Before he does that, Jenny draws a circle on the floor with a piece of candy.
Okay.
And goes out and tells them to come through the chalk circle when it activates.
I forgot about the damn.
Okay.
All right, so you kind of mending the zipper. It kind of closes it. It kind of closes it up a little bit, and now the zipper at the end is completely closed, and all of you are within. But I assume using your candy portal, you are able to get everyone out safely.
Yep.
Yeah, I was actually probably the only one that stayed in while everyone else was out, and then I used the candy portal.
Excellent. So you all get out, no issue. The portal seems to be closed. The horizon looks like it is back to normal. Whatever terrible dimension that was is once again out of sight, out of mind, and things seem to have returned. As you all kind of make your way back to the beach eventually, the various conch worshippers and the various cloud worshippers all offer a genuine thank you, and begrudgingly you watch as the leaders kind of begrudgingly shake your hands as they agree to never do the thing that they did again.
As they're reaching out, I give them both, all three of them,
Yes.
a slap.
Just light slaps all around, very casual slaps, and they feel also the shame of the protector. And you have succeeded. You each earned 200 Bartholomew bucks and gained an experience point. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Woot woot.
Great work, guys. That was a really good. I was sad. I wanted the beholder.